My boyfriend went blind saving me. Filled with guilt, I stayed by his side for 5 years, writing articles day and night to earn money to cure his eyes, pouring in loads of cash that went down the drain. Until one day, I ran into him at the mall, shopping with a girl. A diamond necklace adorned the girl's slender neck, his eyes sparkling as he praised, "It looks beautiful on you." Does it look good on me?" Jack Brown heard my voice and froze. "Ethan, will it look good on me?" Jack Brown turned around. "Rachel, let me explain." I looked at the expensive suit Jack Brown was wearing, the watch on his wrist. I couldn't even name the brand. I wouldn't dare write about it like this in a novel. "Where are you going to start explaining? When did you regain your sight, and when did you become so rich?" He was momentarily speechless. I dialed the attending physician's number. "Dr. Smith." "Ms. King, as I said last time, Mr. Johnson's eyes can't be rushed. He needs to rest first." I scoffed. The patient had recovered, but the attending physician didn't know. No wonder Jack Brown didn't consider my financial situation and insisted on seeing a doctor at the private clinic. It turned out he was plotting with the attending physician to swindle me. I suppressed my surging emotions and said in a deep voice, "Is it fun to play with me? Is it fun to pretend to be blind and deceive me? Your outfit isn't cheap. Why would you even look at my small change?" As I spoke, tears streamed down my face. I picked up the thermos flask in my hand and threw it at Jack Brown. "You treat me like a fool to play with." Jack Brown snatched the thermos flask, and with his other hand, he restrained my wrist. I couldn't move and could only voice my accusations. 5 years, $1.24 million. It isn't even as expensive as your watch, is it? My gaze landed on his watch, similar to the Valentine's Day gift I bought him from my purse, but more exquisite and more expensive. If this hadn't happened, I would have happily taken the watch in my purse and presented it to him. "Happy birthday this year." He would have pretended to be surprised and said thank you, then laughed at me in his heart like a fool, buying him an off-brand as a gift. Jack Brown frowned at me. This was a common tactic he used over the past 5 years. As long as he frowned, I would shamelessly apologize and admit my mistakes. "Rachel, don't be so aggressive." I broke free from his hand and slapped him. "What about when you were pushing me to the edge?" Jack Brown's head was turned by my slap, and his fine hair stuck to his forehead, looking somewhat pitiful. That's how I fell into his trap. Jack Brown would always hold me in his arms late at night, his forehead against my shoulder, telling me about his tragic life story, begging me not to abandon him, like a stray puppy in the rainy night. At that time, I thought I was his everything. We cherished each other, and no one could leave the other. So, in the late nights when he was sound asleep, I kept coding away, the sound of keyboard clicks echoing in the small living room. Jack Brown would occasionally wake up in the middle of the night and stand at the bedroom door, telling me to go to bed early. I agreed verbally, but my hands didn't stop at all. Looking back now, I guess no one would be as stupid as I was. In 5 years, the number of times Jack Brown felt sorry for me and told me to go to bed early was no more than 8. And those 8 times were just one sentence. He said that sentence to me as if sleepwalking, and then turned around and went back to the room. His love was just an occasional whim, but I was still happy to indulge in it. Don't you know how long it's been since I had a good night's sleep? Don't you know how much I looked forward to you being able to see? My voice became more and more choked up. His brow furrowed even more, and there was some regret on his face. His eyes were red, and his dark, bright eyes were now filled only with me. He could see those sleepless nights, he could see me wearing a pilled sweater, he saw me burying every sharp corner of the house in my purse when I brought him home. He used God's perspective to look at my frugal and careful life. I poured out my love and effort, but in the end, it was just a game for the young master. "I'll give you compensation, including all the expenses for these 5 years. I'll pay you back together." Jack Brown spoke with some guilt and helplessness. It was a foregone conclusion, and he couldn't explain it, so he had to give up. My hands trembled as I took out the birthday gift from my purse. No matter how exquisite the box's packaging was, it was just a pretty face. I threw it at him with all my strength. Jack Brown didn't dodge, and a corner of the box hit his face, instantly leaving a red mark. I felt sorry and burst into tears again. Someone grabbed my hair from behind, pulling my scalp painfully. Then I heard a spoiled female voice, "Jack Brown, are you stupid? Just let her hit you?" Jack Brown hurriedly pulled the girl away and held her in his arms. "It's okay. I owe her. Don't interfere." But the girl insisted on getting involved. "Let go of me." Jack Brown couldn't persuade her, so he could only let her walk in front of me. She sized me up carefully, her face showing disdain. "This is Amy Smith." She was first puzzled, and after thinking for a moment, she called out my name in surprise. She knew me? But I didn't remember her. She turned to Jack Brown and said, "Ethan, I told you she would be fun, but you didn't believe me." She took Jack Brown's arm and leaned her whole body on him, as if she had no bones. Jack Brown looked at me uneasily. I turned my head away, avoiding his gaze. The air conditioning in the mall was set low, and I felt cold all over, and my temples were throbbing with pain. I only regarded myself as the young master's playmate, but I didn't expect that I was still part of the young moss. And young ladies play. I felt ashamed and indignant and prepared to leave. But the girl stopped me. "Amy Smith, do you remember me? In the hospital, outside Jack Brown's room, I gave you a tissue." I stopped and looked back at her face. After a moment, I finally remembered. We had met. At that time, Jack Brown had just been admitted to the hospital, and the doctor said he was blind. I was swept away by guilt and didn't know what to do, so I squatted outside the room and cried for a long time. She appeared at this time, and the tissue she handed me had a fragrance. I took the tissue and looked at her through teary eyes. She was bright and beautiful, and like her tissue, she exuded a faint fragrance. I choked and said thank you, but she smiled. "It's okay. Things will get better." Her voice was bewitching, and I blurted everything out in confusion. I told her that I had a car accident, and Jack Brown saved me, hitting his head and going blind, but I was unharmed. The bright and beautiful older sister didn't smile anymore, but stared at me blankly for a long time, and then walked away. I only thought she was a passerby, but 5 years later, she appeared in front of me again and told me, "Amy Smith, I'm Olivia Green." Oh, so she was Olivia Green. What was Olivia Green thinking at the time? She thought that the person in front of her had caused her beloved to go blind, so she had to teach her a lesson. You don't have to cry and make a fuss. This is what you should repay. For Ethan, you too. A few months of playing around is enough, but you had to play for 5 years, and now it's not easy to get rid of her. Olivia Green pretended to blame Jack Brown. Jack Brown lowered his head as she said, like an obedient dog. The roles had changed. When he was with me, Jack Brown was always superior, but now, seeing Jack Brown being scolded by Olivia Green, I couldn't help but want to laugh. Olivia Green glared at me. "It's reasonable for you to take care of your benefactor, you've managed to take care of yourself in his bed. You're quite skilled. These 5 years of romance, sleeping in the same bed, you haven't suffered a loss. After all, many people want to sleep with young Master Ethan. You're lucky." Lucky? My hand, hanging by my side, clenched unconsciously. Ordinary people's feelings, self-esteem, and even life, are nothing but dust in their eyes. Because they are not in the same class, they can be teased at will, and even if they are deceived, it is a blessing. It's good that you ran into us, saving us the trouble. Don't you think so? Under Olivia Green's gaze, Jack Brown nodded slowly. Olivia Green rewarded him with a light kiss on the face and then turned to ask me, "Did Ethan tell you that he only had you?" A dull pain struck my heart. I wanted to cover her mouth and stop her from saying any more hurtful words. Thinking like this, I took a step forward, but Jack Brown moved quickly, pulling Olivia Green behind him and blocking my sight with his body. He was like a hero. I moved my gaze to his face, seeing his firm eyes, vowing to protect Olivia Green behind him. Olivia Green bent over with laughter behind him, and her beautiful mouth spoke vicious words. "That's because he asked me how to make you trust him the fastest. I told him that I checked you out, your parents are dead, you're all alone. He made himself sound miserable, and you would always empathize and be fooled. Sure enough, you're just like I thought, simple-minded." 5 times seemed to stand still, and I had a ringing in my ears, unable to hear the surrounding sounds. I lost my mind and scratched at Jack Brown's face. My chest heaved violently, and tears smeared my face. "Do you like to poke at people's scars? Do you like to pretend to be blind? You deserve to be dumped." I cursed and slapped Jack Brown, venting my anger. "You wouldn't be a good young master, but you want to play with me. Is it fun to act pitiful and sell misery? Do you want me to tell Miss Miller how you slept with me?" A person can hide what they want to hide from you, like him regaining his sight. But what a person wants you to know, they won't hide, like Olivia Green. Olivia Green was brought up by Jack Brown. He said he had a girl he loved very much, but after he went blind, she went abroad. We knew the reason why Olivia Green went abroad, and the bitter smile that Jack Brown showed when he mentioned Olivia Green always made my heart ache. Jack Brown opened my eyes. After 5 years, he picked up this pile of again. Being with Jack Brown for 5 years, whether true or false, I still knew some of the other person's weaknesses, so I knew that what Jack Brown couldn't let go of was Olivia Green leaving him when he was most helpless. Now, when he was doing his best to hurt me, this became my weapon to attack him. I struck hard, wanting to vent all the grievances and forbearance I had endured over the past few years. His face was covered with scratches and bloodstains. Seeing this, Olivia Green wanted to stop me. I took off my purse and threw it at her face, and she screamed and hid behind Jack Brown again. Her love for Jack Brown was only so much. "Ah, Ethan, she dares to hit me. I'm calling the police." Jack Brown didn't dodge when I scratched him all over, but he stepped in to stop me when I moved against Olivia Green. "No, don't. It's me who's sorry to her." He said this to Olivia Green, but he still held Olivia Green tightly in his arms. I went crazy and wanted to pounce on Olivia Green, but Jack Brown pushed me to the ground. He felt guilty again and wanted to help me up. "I'm sorry, Rachel." I slapped his hand away. "I don't need young Master Johnson to bother. I just ask that you fulfill your promise." I wasn't stupid. I didn't want to lose both the person and the money. Jack Brown couldn't owe me a penny. He was full of astonishment, as if he couldn't believe that after 5 years of deception, I would compromise like this. I stared at him closely. Jack Brown's face was covered with cuts, and his hair was disheveled. Under my gaze, he slowly took out his wallet and pulled out a debit card to give to me. That wallet was the Valentine's Day gift I gave him, a discounted item for $198, stuffed in his expensive suit, looking out of place. For a moment, I vaguely felt that he loved me. There was $1.5 million on the card. After deducting the $1.24 million for medical expenses, the remaining $260,000 was used to buy these 5 years of feelings. When Jack Brown went blind, I stayed in the hospital for 2 days without seeing anyone come, so I took him home. It was okay for me to live in a studio flat, but it became crowded with Jack Brown, who was over 6 feet tall. However, I was short on money, so I could only give the bed to Jack Brown, and I would curl up on the sofa every night. At first, I suspected Jack Brown, but the car accident couldn't be faked. When he covered his head and cried in pain, I felt a pang of heartache, which couldn't be faked either. It was too easy to fall in love with someone. He didn't even need to incur any cost. 5 years is a long time, too many things. The closet was filled with Jack Brown's clothes, his cup in the living room, and his shoes on the shoe rack, all reminding me of Jack Brown's existence. He wasn't just staying temporarily. He had lived with me for 5 years, genuinely entering my heart. I frantically threw his things into the trash can, but how could it all fit? It was 5 years. Not 5 days. It was over 1,800 days and nights. I collapsed on the sofa, exhausted. Too many things had happened this day, and I felt deeply tired. I fell asleep under the stimulating lights of the living room. In my dream, my mother's body hung from the fan, swaying back and forth. Finally, the fan blades cut the rope, and my mother fell to the ground like a feather. I screamed and looked for my father, but I couldn't make a sound. I stumbled to the door, only to see my father falling from the top floor, the blood spreading like a stream from under him. People kept coming to my house, saying they were debt collectors. They blocked me in the house and asked if I knew anyone who could come and take charge of the situation. I called my aunt and those family members who used to call me baby affectionately, but they hung up as soon as they heard my voice. A week after my parents passed away, I was forever without a home. They avoided me like the plague. The debt collectors still came. They wanted to catch me and exchange me for money. I hid next to the outdoor unit of the air conditioner. They found me, and I fell down. 7 When I woke up with a start, it was already broad daylight. I was lying on the bed. A hand was around my waist, and for a moment, it felt like I was back on one of those days in the past 5 years. I pushed Jack Brown away and kicked him out of bed. He was still sleepy and called out to me in confusion. "Baby, what's wrong?" He reached out to rub his eyes, touched the scabbed wound on his face, and winced in pain. Only then did he wake up and look at me awkwardly. "How did you get in here?" I rubbed my temples. Last night's dream was bizarre, and I didn't sleep well. My head was aching, and I forgot that he still had the key to the apartment. "What are you doing here?" I glanced at the cheap ring in his hand that had been thrown into the trash yesterday, and I was speechless. "Jack Brown, I thought we made things clear yesterday." He lowered his head, just like when he was blamed by Olivia Green yesterday. "I'm just here to pack up some things. Do you still like these rags?" I scoffed and looked around the room. He came with nothing, and every piece of clothing, even his underwear, was bought by me. Now that he was leaving, I wanted him to leave empty-handed as well. "Nothing here is yours. Put down the key and leave." "Rachel, I was sincere. I know you love me, so I want to ask you to forgive me." "Jack Brown, do you believe that yourself?" I thought of the scene where he protected Olivia Green behind him, waved my hand, and wanted to laugh, but choked up. "What is the sincerity you're talking about? Is it knowing how tired I am to earn money, but not telling me that you've regained your sight? Or is it being with Olivia Green again while still hanging on to me?" "I'm not with her." "Then what was taking her to buy a necklace and let her kiss you? You rich people know how to play." Jack Brown wanted to argue, but I interrupted him coldly. "It doesn't matter anymore, just go." Jack Brown left the room, taking 3 steps back with each step. I called out to him, "Jack Brown?" He turned back to look at me, his eyes filled with surprise. "Are your parents still alive?" He lowered his head again and nodded lightly. "Yes, but we don't live together." I closed my eyes. "Jack Brown, my parents are gone. You're a person, not a beast. Don't do things that stab people in the heart again." After a long while, Jack Brown spoke, his voice hoarse. "I'm sorry." He wanted to say something more, but things had reached this point, and all explanations were pale. 8. Jack Brown closed the door for me, his footsteps fading away, followed by the sound of the iron door being closed. Jack Brown left. I fell back on the bed, the scent of Jack Brown still lingering on the sheets, making me almost suffocate. I lay on my back, and tears slid down the corners of my eyes, seeping into the pillow. This was no longer a place to stay for long. I couldn't trap myself in these 5 years forever. I contacted the landlady to terminate the lease. The landlady was a very nice aunt. When I was disliked by my relatives, she rented the house to me for $200, giving me a place to shelter from the wind and rain. I had lived here for 7 years, and she was a little puzzled when I suddenly said I was leaving. "Rachel, are you planning to marry Jack Brown?" Ethan said he was going to invite me to his wedding. "Don't forget to invite your aunt even after you move away. But choosing Ethan means you'll have to work harder in the future. I wish you happiness." The landlady's words made my nose tingle again. Jack Brown and I, there was no us anymore. Hearing these words wishing us happiness now only felt particularly harsh. I politely replied, "Thank you, Auntie," put down the phone, and fell asleep again. There was a crackling sound in the living room, and the air smelled like hot pot. Jack Brown had completely changed my preferences in the past 5 years. I used to like strong flavors, but he preferred light flavors, complaining that the house was small, the heavy flavors wouldn't dissipate, and the doctor also said that Jack Brown's condition was sensitive to too much grease. Now, looking back, I realized that even the doctor's orders were according to Jack Brown's preferences. I got up to wash and get ready to go out and find a new place to live. I opened the door and saw Jack Brown still sitting on the sofa, the hot pot soup bubbling on the coffee table, as if he had been waiting for me for a long time. "You're awake. Have some of your favorite food?" I felt a sense of powerlessness. I hated too much entanglement. "Get out! Rachel, don't be like this." Then how should I be? You lied to me, and I should continue to greet you with a smile? I was almost pleading. "Jack Brown, I beg you, just go." I had seen Jack Brown's persistence. Not long after he went blind, Olivia Green left. He held the phone, calling until it ran out of battery, then continuing to call while plugged into the charger. It wasn't until Olivia Green couldn't take it anymore and said something ruthless that he gave up. Jack Brown loved Olivia Green, so he called again and again without getting tired of it. But to me, he just wasn't tired of me yet. How could a young master allow his plaything to say no first? 9. Jack Brown stayed until Olivia Green called before leaving. Before leaving, he asked me with red eyes, "Do you still love me?" "Yes," I answered honestly, wanting him to always remember that he owed me, and that $1.5 million wouldn't clear the debt. Hearing my answer, his eyes lit up, as if hope had been ignited. He didn't know that I loved him now, but I wouldn't love him forever. After Jack Brown left, I started packing my luggage. I only picked out the important things, and for the things I couldn't take away, I hired a cleaning lady to throw them away, including Jack Brown's things. After picking and choosing, I only took away a locked box in the end. Inside were my father's belongings. I had opened it before, but it was just the company's ledger, which I couldn't understand. But thinking that I wouldn't see my father's handwriting again, I always kept it. I opened the box, and the fragrance of ink rushed to my face. My father's handwriting was strong, like him, like a pine tree taking root, its branches spreading like the sky. But it was this unyielding person who left me alone in this world. Resentment, how could there not be resentment? While flipping through it, a piece of paper fell out of the ledger, and only then did I realize. There was another secret to my father's death. My company manager, Thomas Green, embezzled public funds and framed me, causing me to lose my career and bear $37.8 million in debt. This ledger records the embezzlement. I hope that after my death, this matter can be thoroughly investigated and my innocence can be restored. I went back to the day my father passed away, screams echoing outside the window, my mother swaying on the fan. I was like a mute, like a wandering soul. My father's death didn't cause any waves, and the police ruled it a suicide. I held the evidence of my father's innocence in my hand, but I had never been able to seek justice for my father. No wonder. No wonder they hadn't entered my dreams for 7 years. My father was an upright person. He didn't spend many days me, but he always taught me to be an honest person and not to engage in crooked ways. So, I never listened to or believed those voices that said my father committed suicide out of guilt. Thomas Green was the manager of my father's company, and my father was his deputy. I only occasionally heard this name at dinner. My father always praised and envied him when he mentioned him. The tone suddenly changed in the month before my father passed away, and he was extremely angry when he mentioned Thomas Green again. My mother comforted him a few times. Don't worry about so much. Just do your job well. My father sent me away, crying bitterly. It's too late. It's too late. It's me. He said it was me. I didn't understand what he meant. My mother wiped away her tears and complained about my father. I told you not to interfere. Now you're the scapegoat. What are we going to do? What about the child? Thomas Green embezzled public funds and was discovered by my father. My father was framed and became the scapegoat. 37.8 million, my father could never repay it. There was no way to appeal, and he wanted to use death to stir up some waves, but Thomas Green covered the sky with one hand. My father died unjustly. I held the evidence and the $1.5 million that Jack Brown gave me. I was going to get justice for my father. David Thompson was the only one willing to take on this case. Many law firms shook their heads and refused to take it when they heard that the other party was Thomas Green. David Thompson was very professional and very expensive, but I had no other choice. 2 days later, he gave me Thomas Green's information. He had his own company and was doing very well. Thomas Green also had a daughter named Olivia Green. I thought that my connection with Olivia Green would end with Jack Brown, but I didn't expect there to be this layer. But the case was not as simple as I thought. Many pieces of evidence had been taken away by time, and what I held in my hand was just my father's word. Data could be faked, and the other party could deny it. I huddled in my newly rented house, tossing and turning, and answered David Thompson's call. Come out for dinner. I don't have an appetite. It's not completely hopeless. I'm just saying it's unfavorable. Hurry up. My treat. Hearing him say this, I turned over, got up, and went out. I needed his help, so I didn't want to offend him. After spending time with him, I realized that David Thompson was a very interesting person. He was serious when he was working, but he liked to joke around in private. Compared to Jack Brown, he was much more interesting. Speak of the devil, we ran into Jack Brown and Olivia Green at dinner. Seeing me, Olivia Green immediately took Jack Brown's arm. Seeing my eyes fall on their intertwined arms, Jack Brown wanted to pull his hand away, but Olivia Green pulled even tighter. Unable to break free, Jack Brown took the initiative to criticize me. His eyes looked past me and landed on David Thompson behind me, his brow furrowed. Amy Smith, is this the reason you can't forgive me? I admired Jack Brown's ability to distort the truth. We were together for 5 years, and I spent all my time writing and revolving around him. As the guilty party, he was now blaming the breakup on me having a new love. Jerk! Enough is enough. You. His face turned as black as charcoal, and he pointed at me for a long time without saying a word. Instead, Olivia Green chimed in from the side. Did I hit a nerve? I looked at Olivia Green's face, which resembled Thomas Green's, and a flood of hatred almost drowned me. My fist clenched at my side, and my nails dug into my flesh, causing a faint pain. David Thompson stood in front of me, his warm hand wrapped around my hand, burning my heart. "Ms. Miller, you should be more honest. After all, people can't always be lucky." David Thompson's voice was low, and the words that came from his thin lips were not kind. Olivia Green raised her chin and glared at David Thompson with her nostrils. "Who are you?" David Thompson reached into his pocket to feel for a business card, but forgot that it was after work hours. His hand felt empty in his pocket, and he pulled it out and awkwardly scratched his nose. "I'm sorry, I forgot to bring my business card. My name is David Thompson, and I'm a lawyer. Ms. Miller, let's get to know each other in advance." Olivia Green flicked her hair that was hanging by her ear. Even riffraff dare to call themselves lawyers. "Ethan, isn't it funny?" I worriedly observed David Thompson's expression, afraid that he would be angered. But he just smiled and said politely to Olivia Green, "Ms. Miller, see you another day." With that, he pulled me out of the restaurant. I stole a glance at him out of the corner of my eye, afraid that he was unhappy and would ignore my father's case. "I didn't expect to get caught. What are you looking at? Are you looking to see if Olivia Green will make me angry?" I felt guilty for a moment, so I lowered my head and looked at my toes. "Haha, Amy Smith, have you forgotten what I do?" "That's right, he's a lawyer, he's seen everything. I won all the debates. I just didn't want to argue with her." I chuckled. He looked at me steadily. "Amy Smith, don't worry." 11 My heart was racing for a moment, and my face began to warm up. He told me not to worry. This feeling was much more stable than being with Jack Brown. When I was with Jack Brown, I lived cautiously every day. When he had just gone blind, his emotions were unstable, and I couldn't even speak loudly in front of him. After enduring his cold words, I was afraid that he would always be sad and never see again. Because he was blind, I always stood up straight, never daring to shrink back. Now, David Thompson was looking at me steadily under the streetlights, telling me not to worry. My wandering heart felt like it could finally settle down. "You?" I couldn't ask that question. I truly felt David Thompson had different feelings for me, but I was afraid it would be like Jack Brown, a complete waste of time. "Don't you remember me? Amy Smith." I looked at his face in confusion, not remembering ever meeting him. "Amy Smith, grade 11, class 3. I had the pleasure of reading your essay. It was beautifully written. We were schoolmates?" "Yes, you lent me your eraser during an exam." My fate with David Thompson began there. I just had no memory of him. I transferred schools in the second semester of my 11th grade to escape the so-called debt collectors. They found my school, and rumors spread like wildfire throughout the class, saying that my parents had embezzled public funds, causing the company to be unable to pay wages, leading to mass layoffs, and that my parents had committed suicide out of guilt. For that short week, everywhere I went, people whispered and pointed. Those once friendly classmates also became hideous. I quickly transferred schools. Days got better, and the past gradually faded away, including those people, all forgotten in my 11th grade. Looking back now, they didn't do anything wrong. 16 and 17-year-olds only had that much understanding, chasing shadows and believing everything they heard. "You've had it tough these past few years." He stood under a tree, in the lamplight, and gently pulled me into his arms, whispering in my ear that I'd had it tough. I burst into tears. He patted my back gently, and I cried myself to sleep in his arms. Logically, I should have run out of tears long ago, but when someone comforts me and says they understand, I can't help but feel sorry for myself. Just before I closed my eyes, David Thompson seemed to kiss my forehead. "Amy Smith, I will make your wish come true. He didn't make me wait long. The night before the hearing with Thomas Green, Jack Brown came to see me. After discussing the case with David Thompson, he drove me home, told me to get some sleep, and that he had everything under control. Whether my father could be exonerated depended on tomorrow. I tossed and turned after showering, unable to sleep for a long time. The phone rang suddenly, startling me awake. Hello? It's me, Rachel. Don't hang up. It was Jack Brown. I should have listened to David Thompson and gone to bed earlier. What is it? I heard about your father's case. His voice was heavy, as if he were also sad for me. I felt a sense of excitement, and my tone of voice was rising. Now you know that Olivia Green and her family aren't good people, right? He cut me off. Rachel, Sophia has been crying all day. I had no choice but to call you. Can you drop the lawsuit? My lips trembled, and I opened and closed them several times before I could ask, why should I? Your father is already gone. You know what kind of life you've been living these past few years. Sophia is different from you. If something happens to her father, she definitely won't be able to live a good life. Thomas Green should pay the price. If he didn't commit a crime, what is he afraid of? What are you barking about? Amy Smith, you weren't like this before? Jack Brown, you're such a jerk. I hung up the phone and lay back. The little bit of sleepiness I had completely gone because of that phone call. Thinking back on the past 5 years with Jack Brown, I only hated that I loved the wrong person. I don't know if he was too good at pretending, or if I was too gullible, but I didn't see at all that he was such an unreasonable person. As soon as Olivia Green appeared, he seemed to be bewitched, possessed. My phone rang again. My head was splitting, and I answered with my eyes closed. Jack Brown, if you want to show your loyalty, go fetch Olivia Green's shoes and lick her feet. Don't try to get my attention here. A soft laugh came from the other end, transmitted through the receiver, ringing in my ear, tickling me. You're quite the potty mouth, David Thompson teased, and my tense nerves relaxed. When I read your essay, I thought, what a gentle girl you must be. Like a jasmine. But when I met you, I realized it was all an illusion. You're resilient, like bamboo. He rambled on, talking about the past and the present. His voice swirled in my ear, and I became drowsy. I was worried about my father's case, so I woke up early. When I went downstairs, David Thompson was already waiting. Morning. Morning, he replied, his voice a little hoarse. I looked at him questioningly, wondering if he had caught a cold. Meeting my gaze, he explained, I talked too much last night, but it won't affect my performance today. I don't know how long he rambled on last night, but when I woke up this morning, the call history showed an hour and a half. I blushed and urged him to leave quickly. David Thompson comforted me all the way. I believed him, but I was still uneasy inside. David Thompson found the witness from that year, and he had the evidence in his hands. The trial went smoothly, and the evidence was overwhelmingly in our favor. Thomas Green was sentenced to life imprisonment. In the courtroom, he sat in the defendant's seat, his back straight like a pine tree, his temples a little gray. After hearing the verdict, his eyes were red, but he clenched his teeth. I thought of my father's praise and admiration for him. There must have been a reason. If Thomas Green had used his intelligence for good, my father would have boasted about him and followed him for the rest of his life. But people are greedy. After getting 1,000 coins, they want 10,000. After becoming emperor, they want to become immortals. So am I. After winning the lawsuit, I also wanted to bring my parents back to life. We won. Rachel. Seeing me sitting there motionless, David Thompson nudged my arm. Yeah. I nodded emphatically. Everything will be all right. My eyes were wet, and I looked at David Thompson. My eyes were filled with tears, and only him. I didn't see Olivia Green and Jack Brown in the audience. After leaving the courtroom, I was still in a daze. David Thompson went to get the car and told me to wait for him at the door. Olivia Green, holding a switchblade, appeared behind me. The sound of the blade entering flesh, mixed with a muffled groan and exclamation, snapped me out of my daze. I turned around and saw Jack Brown collapsed on the ground, tightly clutching the switchblade. Olivia Green was kneeling on the ground, frantically trying to hold the wound while also trying to pull out the knife and stab me. The scene was chaotic. "No, Sophia! No!" Jack Brown held Olivia Green's hand tightly. Anyone who didn't know the situation would think he was deeply in love with me, but only he and I knew that he was just worried that Olivia Green would hurt me and not be able to get away with it. The courtroom guard called the police. The two people holding hands were separated. One was taken to the police station, and the other was hospitalized. As a party involved, I also had to go to the police station to make a statement. David Thompson held my hand. His hand was different from usual, very cold. There was a layer of fine sweat on the palm of his hand, which made me uncomfortable, and I gently pulled away. "He took a knife for you, so you don't want me anymore?" He stubbornly grabbed my hand back and held it tightly. Seeing that he didn't look well, I let him. The courtroom house surveillance clearly showed Olivia Green holding the knife, heading aggressively towards me. Jack Brown came out halfway, and I was spared. Otherwise, the knife would have landed on me. Although it was directed at me, it didn't cause me any substantial harm. Olivia Green was temporarily detained, and it all depended on whether Jack Brown was willing to let it go. Without thinking, Jack Brown couldn't bear to see Olivia Green suffer. After leaving the police station, David Thompson remained silent. I shook his arm. "What's wrong?" "I'm fine, aren't I?" I was scared too. "Oh, death." His voice was choked with sobs, as if there was a stone stuck in his throat. I couldn't help but give him a light kiss on the lips. The first thing Jack Brown did when he woke up was contact me. On the phone, he said he wanted to see me. I gladly accepted the invitation, wanting to say a proper goodbye to my 5 years. "I didn't think you'd be willing to see me." His lips were pale and chapped, just like when he was admitted to the hospital after saving me. I dipped a cotton swab in water and moistened his lips for him, just like I did 5 years ago. I really couldn't see at the time. I didn't lie to you. I knew that he really couldn't see at first, and his pupils couldn't focus. The fear and panic when he lost his sight couldn't be faked. Later, when I could see again, I didn't dare to say it. I couldn't accept Olivia Green going abroad, and I was afraid you'd kick me out. It's so easy and comfortable to be with you. I saw you being careful when you were afraid I'd fall, and researching ways to restore my sight. I was greedy for the love you gave me. I stumbled with Olivia Green, so I wanted to find some sense of self-worth in you. I also blamed you. If I hadn't saved you, I wouldn't have lost my sight. Olivia Green wouldn't have left. When David Thompson was comforting you, I was afraid again. I should be the one wiping away your tears. Can you forgive me?" I put the water glass back on the bedside table and called his name calmly. "Jack Brown. Thank you for saving me again. But I can't forgive you, because that can't be confused with the harm you caused me. Take care of yourself. Olivia Green is still at the police station. Good luck to you both." He tried to take my hand, but I dodged it and left the hospital room. I blacklisted all of his contact information. The best outcome for the two of us is to never see each other again. The past, the grudges, all end here. David Thompson was waiting at the door, and when he saw me come out, he pouted in grievance. I smiled and pinched his arm. "Let's go, my hero." Where to? I'm taking you to see my mom and dad. The mountains were shrouded in fog, and the air was filled with moisture. I stood in front of their graves with David Thompson's arm in mine. The fog cleared. The sun fell on my parents' tombstones, on my and David Thompson's shoulders, as if across the silver river of time, they embraced me.